guys. Let me bring
Hi.
my guest on today. Hi, Mary.
Hi. I apologize.
Hi, Mary. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. We have our weekly show broadcasting from inside my Facebook group, Online Business Mindset. You can go on to facebook.com/groups/online business mindset. Today, I have a very special guest. I know every guest is special, but today my guest is Neary Heng. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Hang. It's Neary Heng, and so with an Heng, just don't hang me.
Oh, that. Gotcha. So she's gonna talk about from internment to fulfillment, how to shift into peace, purpose, and prosperity against all odds. Neri, I just finished reading your book, From Internment to Fulfillment. I was so touched by your story and the type of transformation you had gone through and the childhood struggles. I don't think I know anybody have such a deep and profound experience as you. So today I want you to share with our listeners what made it possible for you to achieve what you have done. And I see that you came from Cambodia, and when you were 5 years old, you were turned into basically a slave. You lost your freedom. You had to work at 5 years old. I cannot fathom what that's like. My youngest now is 6. Still treating like a baby. I cannot, at 5 years old, you being a little girl, doing the heavy work and raising the cow for the government. I was reading your book. I was, I don't know, it's a mixed emotions that there was tears trying to come out. There was joy. There's also, the awe that so shocking what the 5-year-old did. Can you share with us particularly your lessons, your swimming lessons from the cows?
Absolutely. Well, I want to say thank you, Sue, and say hello to all your audience and everyone who's watching right now. I appreciate you investing this time with us. I know you have many choices, and your time is very precious. So, thank you for being in with us today. Wow, I'm so amazed you actually finished the book. Wow, incredible.
Way to finish. It's such a page turner. Um, I was so hooked by the amazing story. So
So yeah, the story with the cow. Oh gosh. So that was one of the jobs that I had to do, and and from at the time, my family and I, meaning my dad, my mom, and I, we were living in my grandma village, where my mom built a house for my grandma before when the Khmer Rouge took over the country. So during this time where everybody had to work, whether if you're a child, then they put you to work. Like in my case, one of my jobs was to actually take care of the cow, what they call herd the cow, HERD, not hurt, okay, herd. um, right. And so this task is happened like usually it's around for me. One of the stable job that I had to take care was the cow all year round. And then during this time of the season, it was monsoon season. And what is monsoon is pretty much you in the Southeast Asia, you know what a monsoon is pretty much bunch of water to dump. It's like a sky lost its kidney and you all just got water all over the places. And so when it's monsoon season, you can see the entire fields, the rice fields. You could just see water. It's like a huge puddle, right? Everywhere you just see water. And so on this particular day, because it's rained so hard, there's no place that I could take the cow in an area to feed, and I needed to take them to the grassy area. So I had to keep going further, further, and further away until I got to this place where it's really a river. And I don't remember walking with any other people. I Most of the time I was spending my time alone. And so I keep walking. I remember I was so tired. I wanted to ride on a cow, but I was too small to ride on a cow. So I had to pull the cow. Sometimes I had to push the cow behind. So the cow didn't want to walk because it was far. And but we made it. It was a struggle until we got to this river. I was like, oh my God, it's a river. And the river is like, because it's monsoon season, so much water was flowing through this river. I could see branches, trees was like flowing through the river. And then I looked over, I saw there's grasses on the other side of the river. And I was like, I didn't know how to swim. In fact, I was really frightened. Yeah. I I came from a city, and in the city, in the capital Phnom Penh city, there is no swimming pool, at least at the place that we lived. So I was so frightened. I didn't know what to do. And then at the same time, the cow, it was like, it took off. It's starting to walk into the river. And I was like, holy sh, what am I going to do? And literally, I was just froze like anybody would, right? But at the moment, you really didn't know what to do. You panic and you're like, but I, at the moment, all I could think of was like I saw the cow tails started to wiggling, and I was like, I started to grab on the cow's tail, and the cow was just starting to swim across this river. And at that moment, as I was holding on to the cow's tail, all kind of thoughts came to my mind. I was like, I look at the big trees, twigs, which is flowing. I thought I would be, you know, be among the twigs trees that flowing along the river. So I held on to really tight to this cow tail because I didn't want to be floating along the river. And then there were snakes in the river. I thought I was gonna be bitten by the snake. All this thought, and the other thing I had a phobia about was snakes. I don't like snakes. I don't know about you. Perhaps you like snakes. Yeah. So it's all of these thoughts. It was a terrifying thought. But I thought, I had to do this. I gotta hang on tight to this cow tails because if I didn't take care of the cow, you see, my entire family could be jeopardized. I could put my entire family, they could punish my family. And by punish, I meant they could kill us, they could reprimand us, they could not, I, my family could not eat food. All of this severe punishment could happen. So I just took the chance and held on to the cow's tail. And all these moment, it felt like eternity. It felt like a lifetime. And without realizing it, the cow got to the other side of the bank of the river. And then the cow like started to move its tail. It's like, okay, I guess I need to let go of the cow's tail. And the cow started to walk toward the grasses area and start eating the grass. And I, of course, you can imagine, was soaked wet from head to toe. And I was literally shaking. I don't remember if when you're frightened, you're afraid, you're so scared, you started to shake like a little bird. And that's what it was me. And then I started to collapse right then. And then I just didn't know what to do. I just sat there for the longest time until I can recompose myself. What was going on at that moment? Like, but many years later, and I realized, and even at this moment in time, we are going through this pandemic. It's really frightening. We could actually think, okay, just stay home, paralyze everything else. We're not able to focus on many things. Our business could be paralyzed. Job, people got lost, got laid off, lost jobs. So many things, horrible things are happening to us. But I'm taking this opportunity, in a way, I could say opportunity, because the thing is, there are times in our life that we have to cross this river. We are scared the hell out of ourselves. We don't know exactly what we do. We don't know if we're gonna get to the other side of the river or not. But you know what? The time like right now, we have to take risks. We have to take chance, risk our lives, risk our own family in order to save them, save our own life. So this is one of the reasons why I'm taking a chance at this moment, um, coming out, sharing my story, because I felt that I've been muted for so long. I wanted to share my story with you and your audience so that hopefully I could serve as a light, as an awakening to you who are listening right now, that I understand you are scared, you are afraid, that you're feeling that you are lonely, you don't know what to do. I didn't know that I could cross the river hanging onto the tail end of the cow. At the moment, take a look at what do you have at this moment. What take an inventory of your resources. For me, it was the cow who could be an angel sent to me at the moment. Two, there could be your friends, your family, your online family like this. But you gotta open your eyes, your ears, and be awakening to the moment when the opportunity presented to you. Like being on this show right now, I could tell you it wasn't planned. It was Sue who actually in this storytelling that I was actually putting myself out there. I was willing to share my story, and trust me, I am nervous right now. I am scared right now sharing my story. You could feel that I could be mumbling, scattered all over the places, but I want you to hear that you are not alone. We are not alone. We can hold on to each other's hand and cross that river together. So, does that make sense? I feel like I'm talking a lot
Oh,
here.
yeah, so
Please feel free to stop me anytime.
I really love how you put it. This is exactly I felt when I was reading your book. I just felt like all my difficulties were put into perspective. You know, we as we go through life or building a business, we feel, oh, it's so difficult. Life is so hard. There's so many things, so challenging. But really, is that really that difficult? Or you're not opening up your mind to possibilities, not hanging onto
Mm,
the cow's tail. Like there are resources you can tap into. Like you were only 5 year old, you were tiny, you were scared, and there's huge rains, water all over the place. Everything turned into a huge water, and you have to raise a cow for the government. You didn't have any freedom, and to cross the river and feed the cows, you were lost. You saw the cows swimming, and then at that moment, you just suddenly came up with the idea of holding onto the cow's tail. I know it must be funny if you're not the person going through that, right? If you are watching a movie or something, if you're watching from an airplane, helicopter, looking at this little girl crossing the river by hanging on the cow's tail, who knows what comes out from the rear of the cow, right?
yeah.
You're like hanging on to dear life. It is that type of spirit that allowed you to be able to become resourceful in time of difficulty. I think for the rest of us, there is no excuse that we say life is so difficult, or people are losing jobs in the corona crisis, or people have all these type of excuses. But you mentioned from this experiences, you learned a five-step system. It's the SBCIA. Can you please share with us what is this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have not shared this with anybody except in the book, so it's wonderful that you brought this up. Um, SBCIA, so S stands for stop.
Mm,
Stop a word. Okay, so right now, I think because many of us has been going at the fastest pace that we could. I used to work in corporate America. A lot of us used to work in corporate America or still working for corporate America. We were told to do our work, go as fast as we could. And I remember working at a couple of jobs that were so high stress, fast paced environment that when I come home, my heartbeat was still, I mean, it lasted me a long time for even after I quit the job. It took me about a year until for my heartbeat to actually go normal because I was constantly thinking I'm gonna miss out something. Uh, or is there a fire is coming up? There's always like an urgency on our mind. We gotta meet a deadline. Gotta do this. Gotta do that.
mm,
So with this pandemic, a lot of people don't like to say it, crisis or what. However you put it, it's still a problem, a challenge. With this crisis happening right now, I see it's that it's an opportunity for us to actually stop. We don't like it, but in a way, it's a good thing because we have no control over it
mm.
except to just stop.
Yeah.
And a lot of us do not want to stop and still like we are trying to search for something outside. Look, not concentrate and stay at home. It's like I need to go out, shopping, do something
Mm,
because we do not know how to stay still.
mm.
A lot of people could say, okay, this is good opportunity for me to actually look in and turn inward.
Internally.
A lot of people actually got the benefits of this because they actually learn how to meditate, pick up a new skill, do something. Okay, that stop briefly
Mm,
explaining. B is actually breathe. You know, there were moments in my life when I was about to faint and pass out. I could see stars, like black spots. If you experience that in your life, take a deep breath. Count 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause for 2 seconds. Breathe out. Release it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you could do it longer, however you are, and you do breathe for a couple of times until you feel normal.
mm,
And that moment, that breathing will get oxygen and get you focused and stabilized in this moment.
mm,
So C is actually center. Now center, you could put it into different perspective. Center, you actually grounded, being in the moment. Because when you center is thinking about, okay, your target, okay, a center is our target. Or you could see, we are actually standing on the earth, our Mother Earth. So when you really recognize and realize that you're actually standing on the ground, you actually grounded yourself and be in this moment.
mm,
You see, it's like a tree. Now you rooted into the Mother Earth instead of walking in the air, if
mm.
that makes sense.
Right. Instead of finding your roots, feel
Right,
attached.
right,
The
right.
center allow you to be grounded.
Yeah, so center, it could be meditation, it could be a lot of things.
Mm,
Inventory, now eyes for inventory.
mm,
Inventory, what? In my case, it was the cow.
mm,
In your case, it could be public library, which you actually have access to just by going on internet. You don't even have to go to internet. I mean, you don't actually have to get yourself physically to go library. You have resources to learn and educate yourself. Take this downtime, this moment to to study on certain things that you always wanted to, but you have not.
Mm.
Maybe it's a moment that you actually want to get to know yourself better. That's an awesome thing. And then A is for action. Action to do what? Now that you inventory what area you want to work on your life, enroll yourself in a course. Perhaps come to Sue a group, join her group and listening to other people what they share in this group. I could tell you that she is very selective in who she is bringing into her group. And I mean, I could go on and on with a list of things that you could do to improve yourself. And I briefly mentioned meditation. If anything you want to specialize or get to know and learn about yourself, learn how to meditate. There's so much resources out there that you can learn. And if it's worst come to worst, you don't know what to do, what book to read, read my book From Internment to Fulfillment.
Yeah,
Follow me on the
I
social media.
this book.
Yes,
I
I
took
could.
notes, and I it's really fascinating to read, and it's very inspiring. I recommend everybody to check it out. You can find her book on Amazon by typing her name, uh, Neary Heng.
Yeah. I'm not saying this just to promote my book. Okay, that is true. Also, now, because why do I say that? I could guarantee you, after you reading the book, you can get at least one thing out of this book that you can actually apply it to your real life. And
Mm,
if you don't want to read my book, there are so many books out there you could read.
mm,
It's amazing how much resources we have
yeah.
available to us online, and
Mm.
with just a few clicks of the button.
Yeah, we at the age we are so resourceful. There's so much of resources out there for us. So I want to recite the five-step action you mentioned in your book, the SDCIA strategy to deal with any situation. So you want to take note of this. The S means stop. So first, when you have a difficult situation, you first need to stop. Stop yourself on the tracks. And the second step is to breathe. So after you stop, you need to breathe. So to bring your energy to the present moment. So the breathing bring you to the present moment. So you're not in worries, you're not in fear. You are back to the present moment where your true power is. So the third step is to center yourself so that you are calm, so you can come from a place of calm where you can make decisions. The fourth step is inventory, which is important to take an inventory of the resources you have. Really take a look. You will realize you have a lot of things that you do have control, you have access to, and these are your assets. But without stop, breathe, center, you won't be able to take an inventory of what you have available to you. And the last one is action. So the action is the last step. After you stop, after you breathe, after you center, after you take the inventory, comes the action. That's what helped Neary Heng when she was 5 years old, taking the cow over a huge river. She couldn't swim. She was scared of the water. There was snake in the river, and there were branches that could help her up. What she did was she first stopped herself and use breathing to tune in to the current moment and then center herself, bring herself to a place of calm, take an inventory. She has the cow, that's her resources, and the cow has tails, so she could grab onto the tail. So the last one, the action is what she did. She grabbed onto the cow's tail, and that's allowed her to cross a river at 5 years old. to be working for the government, and her life was hanging on the cow's tail, basically, right? The cow really saved your life because you could lose a cow if you don't follow them, and the government could go after you. I know they're very, very brutal in the war time in Cambodia, and the children were brutally beaten just for a few minutes late to work. And think about that. We are so lucky. All people in America, in the advanced countries, we're very, very lucky that we don't even realize. So that's the type of teaching Neary Heng helps you to realize, to find that inner peace and mm, uh, prosperity. Uh, she did it against all odds. So I really love this part of the 5 step strategy that anyone can use to apply to their own life, to stop, to breathe, to center themselves, to do an inventory, and then finally take that inspired action. And this is super important. I hope you have taken notes on these points. I couldn't believe how much I got from this your memoir. Like your personal experience is better than any movie. It's a real life story how people transform their lives. We really need to learn from you. I think we got some comments. Uh, we got some comments. Someone said, "Hello, beautiful beings. I'm so excited to have our conversation today and hope that I add a ray of light to your life." Yes, you did.
Thank you.
And someone said, "That reminds me of a classroom behavior training I took. STAR. Stop, take a breath, and relax." Yeah, this is very similar. I feel like Neary Heng's teaching is more, have more steps, and it's really valuable that we need to start implementing in our lives. And Julia says, "So lucky." Yes,
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Julie. And I just want to add that it's not the California stop, okay? For those of you who don't know what a California stop is, you drive and you add a four-way stop signs, and then you just slow down and then you zoom. You really completely stop. Okay.
oh,
And for those of you who which I should have shared in the beginning, people probably wondering, okay, what government are you talking about? Uh, why you have to risk your life? Well, during this time, it was called the Khmer Rouge regime, also known as the Pol Pot regime. During that time, it was a genocidal regime. Everything belongs to the government. You have no saying, you have no rights, you have practically nothing. All you have to do is that you do as you were told to do.
hmm,
Okay, you you don't own a cooking pot, spoon, a fork, so on and so forth. You own nothing.
hmm,
You don't have any belongings. If you have watches, jewelry, perfumes, none of that stuff, they take it away from you. Day one. And if you have anything in that possession, guess what? They punish you. And by punish, I mean they um, don't feed you. They don't give you meal, which is 2 times a day, lunch and dinner.
it's porridge.
Uh,
Right? I
yeah, porridge. Pretty much where we were living, this porridge. Porridge is a lot of water, a little bit of rice, and some vegetable. Hardly any meat. And you cannot grow anything in your yard. You don't own any property. No religion was allowed. No, you're talking about the speech, the rights to speak. No, uh, you have nothing. You don't even have the right to have your own hairstyle. Imagine you have long hair like you, Sue. Good God, bless your soul. A long hair was not allowed. Colorful
think
clothes. Look at you, sparkling. Forget that. you're on a list to be executed. You're
Yeah,
rebellious.
by being wearing beautiful clothes, you can be killed. So that's the
Yeah.
backward culture that we now living in a so we're so lucky in this society that we cannot even fathom what people went through. You know, I heard my parents talk about their stories when they're growing up. It's kind of like that. So it's a communist. Everything is belongs to the government. You work for the government, and you are giving your daily portion of food. By food, I mean it's not nutritious. A few rice in there, and that's food.
Hmm.
So
Right, right.
I also I really love the story you shared about your dad. There's a particular part you were walking. You thought the war was over, and you were walking over a field, right? And
Yeah, in the rice
you
fields.
saw war planes flying over your head, dropping bombs, and your dad was seriously injured. He really couldn't move, and you were budging him, you're pushing, you're pulling, and yelling at him, "Dad, let's go! You can get killed!" And you were still a little child, and you couldn't move your dad. And your dad, he was not worried at all. He was so calm. Can you comment on that? And what do you think that enabled him to stay in calm in that threatening situation?
Sure. Yes. Thank you for that comment. You see, my dad, he had what I know now, they call it edema. So what edema is, you have a fluid retention in the tissues. So the his entire body would be swollen from head to toe, and it's made him very hard to walk. And on top of that, he was weak because when a sick person's not able to work, he could not get enough food, let alone people who able to work, they get food but not still a complete meal. So when somebody who's not able to work or sick, they get less portion of the food.
Mm,
So um, he could hardly move. And so we were actually migrated from my grandma's village to a far away village. And now, because the country was liberated, uh,
mm,
supposed to be by the Vietnamese communist regime, and which took over, and it now, control over Cambodia. We were told, okay, we are free. You can go to anywhere you want. You can go back to your home where you once lived. So that's why we were walking back to my grandma village. And as we were walking home, and it was a harvesting season in Cambodia, but it's rice fields, all golden, beautiful, but it's also hot. And I don't know about you, but when I heard the airplane, I I thought it was what do you call, people gonna come and rescue us at first, right?
oh, you thought someone is coming to rescue you. Yeah.
But yeah, because I never saw an airplane. At least I didn't remember seeing an airplane flying over our heads.
Mm,
But then I started hearing bomb exploded and saw bombs dropping. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm speaking right now.
yeah, I was too. I was
And
describing
then and
it.
then when I looked around, because you see in the rice field usually there are not that many trees. That
Yeah.
if any trees is far away, because if there's trees we cannot plant the rice in the field. So it got to be open fields, flat.
Mm,
And as this plane was flying over and dropping the bombs, I was so scared to death. I was like, Dad, run! The bombs, I was afraid that it's gonna drops on us.
mm, yeah.
But look, Dad couldn't move. He couldn't run.
Mm,
Um, by now he went through a lot of stuff in life. It's like he was just taking his time, and he was holding on to his cane. So I like right in the front trying to pull him, right? So I was hoping like I could really pull him, but then being a tiny girl and this big guy, I thought it's useless. So I ran in the back to behind him, crying, scared at the same time, trying to push him. Still, he didn't budge. And I thought like doesn't matter how hard I tried to push. I didn't realize it at that moment, but many years later. Sometimes in our life, we have no control of the situation. It doesn't matter how hard we try to push. It's like pushing. That's how I felt. I could change his condition. If I have a magic wand that I could, make the airplane disappear instead of dropping bombs, dropping, food, all these things that we need at the moment, I would do that. If I could have a magic wand and actually make my dad become healthy and run to hide under a tree, I would do that. If I can make a magic wand and make all the people around me stop being suffering, become a very healthy, happy people, I would do that.
Mm,
But then we all know we just have to accept the nature of the reality is
yes.
at the moment. We can't change things. We cannot absolutely change people.
Mm. I like it that you said to have faith, right?
Yes,
When
yes.
you have in this situation, in your situation, it was the airplane flying, dropping bombs, and you are at
Mhm.
a place. You're totally exposed. So there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. So it doesn't even matter. So
Mhm.
all you can do is to accept. If it hits you, then it hits you, right?
Exactly.
Oh,
And
that girl. I just really love how beautiful, that is in terms of how we're living our life now. So
mhm.
self-struggle and trust, right?
Yeah, and when we look at our reality right now, look, we try to hide. We wear masks when we go out. We protect. But really is there is no place to hide. You gotta accept the reality, and we can do the best to
Yeah.
protect ourselves and our family.
Mm,
You can deny that. You can put into politics however ways you want to say it. I don't want to get involved with politics. But the thing is, but the thing is, the true is the true. And we don't even see. That's the thing. So what we can do the best is stay healthy. Do the best. Eat food. You guys have food. You consider that very blessing. Eat food that gives you nutrition that build your body strong, build our body healthy, and protect wherever you go. Do not underestimate the current situation, the circumstances that we're in.
mm. So my understanding is stop trying to resist. Stop trying to run away from it. Just make the best out of your
Absolutely.
situation.
Yes. The harder that you denied, the harder you resist it. It it's the tougher on your mental and also in your environment around you.
Mm. That's great. I love it that that give us some lessons on how we uh, what we can do in crisis, right?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
to accept it and go from here and trust that everything will come to pass.
Sorry, let me just close this real quick.
Um,
Okay, sorry.
it's all right. So I'm showing the back cover of Neary's book of her. Um, you were that looked like a 7 or 8 year old, very very young and working, right?
Actually, that before I left, that picture was a real picture before I left the refugee camp in
Um,
1988. Yes, I was already teenage. I was already in my late teens.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
you see how small I
Yeah.
was, and how bonnet compared to during the communist regime Khmer Rouge. I was literally like a bamboo stick, very,
Wow.
very tiny.
Yeah, you look like 8 year old. So,
When I came to America, I think I weighed, was it one? I think 88 pound or 77 pounds, something like, I don't remember. 77 or 87, 88, one of those numbers. I don't remember exactly, but I think it's maybe 80, 87 pounds,
how old were you?
88 pounds.
How old were you when you first came to America?
Give or take about 18.
You were 18?
Hmm.
Wow. And then from that age, you start learning English, right? You didn't know English before that, and you come
I
here
Yeah,
and
I study a little. I knew the ABC, but I was not able to converse per se. I could read some, but literally I didn't speak English. I remember I was taking, before they actually place you in a class,
mm,
they require you to take a test, right?
mm.
And I remember I took a test, and they have pictures of piano and guitar. I know a guitar, but I didn't know how to spell, so I switched. I called
Oh.
the piano is guitar, guitar is piano. That's how much I knew of English back then. But you see, the other thing I wanna point out is that even now I don't speak perfect English because English is not my primary language. But I had a commitment to myself before I came to America that I will not, never let English stop me from achieving my goal and my dreams to make a better life for myself and my family.
I found out that you are a really determined person. You're so strong mentally, and that's probably what made it possible.
Yes.
You have gone through what you had been through. So I also want to mention this story because another story because it's so touching that I felt like there is a higher intelligence helping you. You are not alone, right? So there's a story of your mom taking you and your brother crossing the border and going to the refugee camp. And that story, I'm having goosebumps as I'm describing it because it's like a mission impossible become a reality. Like there's no way that could have happened if there is no higher consciousness. There's no the thing called universe or God helping you. Can you share that story with us?
Okay, this is amazing. I would be happy to share. And just so you know, for the record, this is for the first time outside the book that I actually share this.
There's a, yeah, you know the great stuff here.
Yes. Um, I strongly believe, in addition to being having a strong-minded person, a lot of things that make me who we are, the way we are. I did not know this, and I was not aware of this until later on in life. Uh, because growing up in Cambodia, it's a normal thing that we have somebody spirits per se come into possessed in somebody. It's normal for us. It's very normal for us to, before anybody get them married, or pick a date for a wedding, they go to somebody who actually know uh, how to you kind of say, I
That's
don't know what.
true.
I'm sorry, not exactly astrologer. Uh, they are somewhat gifted,
Mm,
learn it from the old tradition,
mm,
and they would tell, oh, married on this day, that is for prosperity and good luck. Now, having said that, it doesn't mean it's gonna be 100% proof. Of course, we are all human. So on this journey, before we left uh, home, we
oh,
were leaving from my grandma village. My mom has had, he passed away, a younger brother.
mm,
And he actually, my mom stopped by his house and said, hey, have to come and say goodbye to you because we're leaving. We don't know we're gonna meet ever again.
Right.
And as we was leaving, he said, "Wait." I was with her, and he said, "Wait, sister." She called my mom sister.
Mm.
"Wait for me." And then he light up the incense
Oh.
because he's gifted,
Mm.
and he would start saying, "Wait a minute, you're not going alone." And he told exact number of people. And my mom's like, "No, we're just going three of us here." Back then was I have my mom, my brother.
Mm.
"Oh, you're not, sister, and you're gonna run into problems. But our ancestors will be with you and protect you."
Wow.
And through the journey, there were many things happened to us. We got caught, we could have got sent back, and who knows what could happen to us.
Mm.
Because when you leaving the country, now the communist regime back then is uh, would know that we're trying to escape the country, and that's not good.
Mm.
They don't want anybody to come to leave the country. I don't want to get into the politics and stuff like that. And long story short, we were safe, and it's really a was a miracle. We got stopped for so many times, and but we were so blessed
Mm.
that, including the soldiers at that time, the Vietnamese soldier was controlling the country. He, my mom spoke a little bit of Vietnamese. It's
Mm.
broken Vietnamese, and so that's the other thing. Don't disregard when you know another language. It's not a waste, it's very useful. You never know when you're gonna be able to use it, and she was able to use it, and she was able to communicate with this Vietnamese soldier on a broad daylight, super hot. I mean, summertime. It was April. Okay, I don't know why everything usually happening for us is April or May. it, it really is hot, summer hot in Asia. And my little brother back then, he was little and he was still breastfeeding. And the guy didn't believe that my mom and us three was actually family. They thought we were actually got paid to take the kids to escape the country because back then that's what people do.
Oh.
They really have got paid a very good amount of money to smuggle kids and people across the border in order to escape to the camps, which
Mm.
were residing at the time between the Khmer Cambodian border and Thailand borders.
Mm.
So we got caught, and we didn't even know that we gonna got away. But miracles happened, and we actually the guy let us go, and then at another time we got caught. Like, I only share like a tiny things in the book and on that journey. But long story short, there are invisible protectors. You can call protectors, guides, ancestors, angels. I don't know, many forms. And all through my life, and my mother always remind us that, and we still have a urn, what you call a place where you put food, fruits, and stuff like that for incense, where you can respect to ancestors.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
We yeah we always pray and ask for them for
How?
their protection.
Mm.
So yes, I high above. They could be around us. They could be sitting right next to me, and I don't know, petting me, smiling along with me right now for sharing the story. I don't know. It may out of this world, but the thing is, there's so many times that things happen to us and to myself alone that gave me clues that they helped. Heard voices, certain things that I could turn head. It's like, what's that? I'm not gonna go into a lot of details because I don't want to freak some people out. I know in this group perhaps you accept that, but people outside of this group that here they go like, what is she smoking? What did she had for lunch? I had food. I had healthy, good food.
I
But
think
all
yeah.
one, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to say, I think people now are very open-minded. I came to know a lot of open-minded people. They all, I think it's the globally people are awakening. They start to realize there's more to life than what meets the eyes. Like you said, your mom, a woman who had no education, taking two small children, getting them out of the country, which is highly guarded. There's checkpoints after checkpoints. And I remember reading the book at one point, the checkpoint, at the checkpoint, they doubted your mom is your mom because she looks so different. The skin tone are so different. So they think she's smuggling children out of the country, and your brother actually used a stick, hit the guy. So all these things could have you guys killed. Like,
Absolutely.
people are so brutal back then in that culture. And these checkpoint people, they have a lot of power. They can have you executed, right?
Yes, yeah, and remember, this is after the Khmer Rouge regime. This is after the fall of the communist regime, and because there was also other parties. I mean, by now the country, Cambodia, is under civil war. So there were at least three different parties that had to. One was the party that's controlling the country. There's
Mm,
another two other parties that they were staying in the borders along the borders of Cambodian and Thailand.
mm,
So you have like three different parties that were conflicting with each other.
they all want to
So
kill. They all want
yes, yes, and none of them want anybody to escape the country. All
to.
of them, they want people to go to their place, their location, not getting away from them.
Mm,
So I want to remind you that when in doubt, send a prayer out. Um, you never know who's gonna help you. You know how you don't know where it's gonna come from. It's come from many. It's come from many different shape and size. You heard my story, the cow,
yeah.
and there's so many things.
Mm,
Um, all I know is that when you're between uh, a hard place, hard situation, there are moments that you have is just yourself and nobody else. It's that time all you have is just you and the higher above and the spirit. When I say spirit, whatever you believe in, it could be Buddha, Jesus, Allah, you name it. Where you don't belong to any religion, because
mm,
nowadays a lot of people are believe in free spirit, whatever they believe in. All I'm saying is, um, it's amazing. And one of the things that I realized what kept me alive, also in addition to the family and to the wonderful people that help us through the journey in life, you gotta have faith, you gotta have hope, and you gotta believe that there are more than to just yourself, and you have to accept that. You gotta accept it.
mm,
Um, I never denied it, but I never come out and say those things until the book, until actually now. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I see a lot of people who are going through pain and suffering, lost, confused, and I could be just be comfortable living in my own home. I could call sometimes cave, but I thought to myself, what am I gonna be regret if I were to die right now? And trust me, I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of dying. But I knew what it's like going through all that pain and suffering and have no guidance, have nowhere to turn, not know who to ask for help. And I thought perhaps if I could share my story through my book, I'm a very personal person per se. In fact, I'm an introvert. I don't want to talk if I don't have to, but because I want you, if you are struggling, you're going through pain and suffering, and if you're not right now, there are times in our life, there are times in your lifetime that you're going to go through. I want you to remember that don't stuck in that place. Move on, do something, ask for help because it's no use of living life being in pain and suffering. We gotta find a way to get out and fight it with all your might. Don't accept just mediocre. What I'm doing right now is sharing the message. I'm starting a brand new business. I'm not new to the business world. I'm starting a brand new business and I'm taking people behind the scenes and I'm sharing their story because look, my English is limited. I don't speak perfect English. If you are an English and you try to correct me by now, I think you probably passed out from trying to correct my grammars and all that stuff. Take it easy, come along, do your best. All I'm saying is self, have trust in yourself, have trust and have faith that
Mhm.
you are more than what you see in front of your eyes. I don't know what I'm doing right now. It's gonna take me, but I'm excited soon. I'm excited because if I could make uh have an impact, change a person's life somehow, they're willing to do things, take actions on their own because of hearing my story and they want to improve their life, be a better person, make more money, have a happier life with their family, and so on and so forth,
Mhm.
and have that harmonious life moment, then my story is worth sharing with you and with the world. And that is the reason, one of the reasons why I'm doing this. In addition to all of us have to pay our bills. And that's the reality, that's what we have to accept. And I thought, hey, if I can make money sharing my story, not selling my story, okay? In a sense that I show people how to build a business. Come on, come out. If you want to build your business and but you don't know how, now is the time. Because there is no right time, right, Sue? There's no right time.
Now is the best of
You're gonna wait, you're gonna always have fear. I was scared to cross the river. I am scared right now to start this business because I really don't know all the things that I have to. I don't have a big piece of puzzles, but here I am out here sharing my voice. After all, we have a gift that we can speak, at least we can write. And thanks to the invention of the technologies, we can do a lot of things together.
I believe you're meant to share your story. You're meant to empower others with your life story. I believe our life stories are to share with humanity, really, to tell others how powerful we are and how much we can achieve. And even in extreme difficulties, like your life experiences, we can
Mm.
find peace. we can find purpose. We can achieve prosperity.
Mhm.
We can go against all odds. We are not alone on this journey. So that's a really powerful message, especially for people, for entrepreneurs uh, to stand up and share their story as well, because
Mhm.
that's their message. That's what they need to share. That's what empowers others.
Mhm.
Help them get in touch with their own inner power. Can you tell us how can people find you and get your service? How you help people? Where should they go and find you?
Thank you, Sue. You can go right now to my Facebook fan page, Neary Heng. You can go to Neary Heng. Uh, I have a personal page which has a blue background. That's my personal page. Then there's a business page which I'm gonna share behind the scenes. I'll take you behind the scenes what I do to build this business. And I can say right now it's brand new. I could barely start sharing what I'm going through. And the business page is or the fan page is the one with the white shirt photo and the hair tie back. That's a fan page. And you eventually everything I'm sharing is gonna live on my website, which is nearyhang.com. You can go there and that's where it's gonna be at. Yeah. So Sue is putting online right now. And you know, I just want you to know, those of you who are entrepreneurs, and if you are immigrants or refugees or former refugees, immigrants, and even if you are native English speaker and you have no idea, but you want to start a business, or if you just don't know if business is right for you, I could tell you, if you were to ask me, give or take 16 years ago, I would tell you business is not my thing. I was like, not over my dead body. I'm not going to business because business, from what I heard, is that it's a cutthroat world because of what I'm seeing around me. Because I was so sick and tired of not having my own fulfillment because of other people not having their own fulfillment. I went out on a limb into the business world. And I am doing this again right now in a different way. Now I'm branding myself and along with the business that come together as a brand. I want to motivate you, encourage you that you have more power, you have more mojo than you give yourself. Just just push yourself a little bit, okay? Um, don't worry about your there's our place, so on and so forth. If you take a look at my profile picture for the business page, that is taken with my phone camera. That was the worst makeup hair, first makeup and first hair day that I ever done. But I said, you know what? Put it out there.
Yes.
Don't look for perfection.
Mm.
Just get it done with imperfect. We all not perfect. Look at me. I'm short. Okay. Um, I don't know what else you can find a tons of flaw within yourself, but there's also a lot of good things about you, and you have to find that and accept it. And only then, you will be a mighty dynamite. Just like a diamonds, right? They said you don't know that you are a gem until you recognize that you are a gem and start polishing it, and then the diamond starts sparkling, or you're like amazed, like, oh wow, this thing is so pretty.
Mm.
It's the same thing with you.
Yes, actually, it's so powerful. I like the analogy of a diamond. I feel like we have dust covering the diamond, or
Mhm.
dirt, get it all covered. So we need to remove that. Having that dirt does not mean we're not valuable. It's still diamond. It just
Mhm.
the world cannot see right now.
Mhm.
So you need to start peeling it off and really shine through. And you are a beautiful being. So thank you so much, Neary, for sharing with us your powerful story. I feel this is really inspiring, and especially for entrepreneurs to realize your inner power and to realize there's really a lot you can accomplish when you tune in to your own power within and find that peace, purpose, and prosperity so you can beat all the odds and you're meant to be great. Thank you so much for sharing this message with us, Mary. Huh?
But thank you, Sue, for having me on, and thank you to all of those who are listening and joining us. So come on over to nearyheng.com. I'll see you then.
Visit the website down
Yes.
below is down here. Visit the nearyheng.com and see how she can help you.
Take care.
Bye,
Step in.
everybody.
Yep. Step in your own power.